wanted to come on for this week's live and talk about these a few cues that I learned recently through TikTok that I think are really helpful for people who are struggling with their riding position. So I just want to talk about them. I've got my little chair here to demonstrate them, and I think it'd just be really cool for people who might find it hard to sit up and stuff like that. So like I know I talk about like strengthening your glutes and strengthening your core and tucking your hips underneath, but the one I heard the other day, which I thought was very good, it kind of goes from the head up. So basically, what they said to do was get your head above your seat. So basically, so what you're doing, so if you're sitting like this, if you just bring your head back, see slowly now, your head's above your seat. We're not like pulling ourselves back like this. Literally, if you just angle yourself, head above your seat, you now have a flat back, nice straight line. And if you engage your core slightly, you can keep yourself sitting in that position, which I think is really, really good, as opposed to if you are finding it hard to go from here, if you just come back. Now, obviously as well, you're going to find it a little bit hard because you might feel like you're leaning back, but I think it's really good. So you're just coming up, shoulders are now back, up in that position, and use your core, hold your core in to kind of help you keep yourself up, as opposed to and suck it in. But like if you just have your core nicely engaged, it'll keep yourself upright. You're in a nice position here, and we're sitting up. So I just thought that was really, really good. And another thing they said, this is the same person who told me, was for forward head. So if you have a habit of doing this, look, forward head's really common with everybody because of the way we live, the way we're on our phones all the time, the way we work. So she was saying, like, imagine you are getting yourself measured, so you go like that. Because who like slouches when they're getting their height measured? Everyone wants to be a little bit taller. Well, I do. I'm 5'2", so you do that, and it makes you come up higher, and it keeps your head up straight, which I thought was really cool. And it takes away that backwards lean and putting those backward things. You're more going upwards, which is what we want to be. We want to be up and tall. We don't want to be leaning back to get into those positions. And it will take a bit of practice, of course, as well. Like it's not like something you do straight away, but it's a really, really handy way to get you started, I thought. And then I have a few people as well asking me about shoulders and getting the shoulders up like that. That can be caused by nerves as well, but one of the things that I find is great if you find your shoulders rise all the time. So you roll your shoulders back and imagine you're trying to tuck them into your back pockets. So imagine you have back pockets there, you might have them in your jods, you may not, depends what you're riding in. If you are pulling them back and down into those back pockets, now they're down. For me, I've been practicing this a lot recently, and initially I used to find my back, the centre of my back was getting a little bit stiff when I put myself in that position. And that is just because the muscles aren't used to holding you in that position, so they do get a bit tired. But now I've been doing it for a couple of months, yes, months, because this stuff takes time. It is now really, really comfortable to sit like that. And I think it's really important that we do things like this when we are riding, and don't be afraid of discomfort, because like, okay, we're used to the whole John Wayne walk after horse riding, but if, say for instance, you feel some stiffness in your back or something else, you tend to be like, oh, I shouldn't do that. But a lot of the time it's just the muscles weak and not used to activating like that. So for me, for a long time, I had to keep doing it. I could feel it the whole time, and now, as I said, a couple of months later, it's gone. And it's really interesting because you'll never notice it going, you'll notice it when it happens. And then one day last week I was just riding, I was like, oh, my back's not stiff when I do this anymore. So it's interesting that we have to, like, the time we have to take to do it can be a long time, but it's worth it in the long run. So like little cues like this, anything you can use to make it a little bit easier on yourself, as opposed to thinking that you find it very confusing all the time. If you can make anything a little bit of it easier, try to do that. If there's something in your head, some way of describing it, like, use it. Don't be afraid to use it. I think these things are genius and they're so helpful. And if you can visualize something and visualize a way of doing something, it makes it 10 times easier. So let me know. I want to know what your cues are. Do you have any good ones that you know, or you've been taught by the instructor? Like, you have the wild ones, we've all had some, like, probably ones that you shouldn't be typing on that we've heard from instructors, but stuff like that, little tweaks that you can do to improve your position. I'd love to hear them from you. And if you are looking for any help with improving your position, or if you're looking for help to rehab with injuries, I am available. I'm taking on clients in January, so feel free to drop me a DM. We'll talk about how we can do an online program outside of the gym, sorry, it doesn't have to be in the gym, outside of horse riding, that can actually help you get to the goals that you're looking for. And if you have any questions, drop me a DM. I'd love to have a chat with you about it, see how I can help you. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed these little cues. I found them really helpful. I think they're great. Hopefully you did too. And let me know yours, as I said.